Now come to order. At this time, I would like to ask for our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by our committee in regards to the board member, Micah Gravely. Micah.
Stand, join me. Praise the Lord. Father God, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for the rain that you gave us last night. Father God, we just appreciate everything that you've provided for us. We ask that you would bless this meeting, that you would bless our Department of Transportation, for all the many employees that are on the road today, helping others and ensuring projects get completed. Father God, we thank you for our leaders in this state. We ask that you give them wisdom, guidance, and help them to operate in moderation. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to welcome everyone here to our March board meeting. We're glad to have you present with us today. I see we have a wonderful crowd. We are very excited about various things that we will be sharing with you during our board meeting. Also would like to ask now our Secretary, Kristen, if she would please call the roll.
Yes, I will go by congressional district, starting with 1, Chair Purcell.
Present.
2, Ms. Williams. Here. 3, Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
4, Mr. Brown. 5, Ms. Key.
Here.
6, Mr. Bowen. 7, Mr. Thompson. 8, Mr. Golden.
Here.
9, Ms. Dunn. Here. 10, Mr. Boswell.
Here.
11, Mr. Lewis. 12, Mr. Snipes. 13, Ms. Lemon. And 14, Mr. Gravely.
Here.
Can you report to us the number in attendance at roll call? Thank you. We have a quorum present. Now I would like to move forward with our approval of our minutes from the February board meeting. Do I have a motion? Have a second? Any comments, corrections? Seeing none, all those in favor as the minutes that came to you by email prior to our meeting today. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, aye also. No objection, minutes are passed. We will follow through. I'll ask Mr. Albert Shelby, our Director of Program Delivery, to please come forward as we have a presentation of our April 2025 lettings.
Right, so good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioner, and members of the board. I'm here to present the projects the department is proposing to advertise for the April 2025 letting. Before we present the April 2025 letting, here are the current FY 2025 results. We have let a total of 181 projects in fiscal year 2025. This chart shows the number of projects by improvement type. The value of these 181 projects is approximately $1.37 billion through the February 2025 bid awards. Of the 181 projects, 176 are GDOT let with an approximate value of $1.35 billion, and 5 are local let projects with an approximate value of $13 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type, with bridge, roadway, and maintenance projects making up the bulk of these improvements. Here are the results of the February 2025 letting. Of the 14 GDOT let contracts that were presented to the board, all were awarded. Now I'm going to discuss the projects in the April 2025 letting. We have a total of 22 projects, 19 are GDOT let and 3 are local let. The next 2 slides list these 22 projects arranged by congressional district. So as you can see with this slide, we are letting a variety of projects throughout the state to address maintenance, bridge, capacity, and safety issues. The first highlighted project proposes to replace the existing concrete bridge with a new reinforced concrete bridge on State Route 362 at Red Oak Creek, approximately 1,185 feet long, and the approaches will consist of two 12-foot travel lanes with 8-foot shoulders and open ditches. It will be raised approximately 1.66 feet above the existing bridge elevation. Traffic will be maintained on an off-site detour. The existing bridge was constructed in 1956, 69 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. This next project will convert the intersection of State Route 42, which is Moreland Avenue, and Arkwright Place, into a right-in, right-out intersection by constructing a median to restrict all left turn movements and prohibit through movements from Arkwright Place. This project will include a signalized pedestrian crossing. The improvement is anticipated to reduce congestion and help improve safety at the intersection. This next project will replace the existing State Route 52 bridge over the Chestatee River on new alignment. The proposed project length is 0.4 miles, with the bridge approximately 300 feet long. Both the road and bridge will continue to maintain a rural roadway with a speed limit of 45 miles an hour. The proposed roadway lane widths will consist of 12-foot lanes with 8-foot shoulders. The new bridge will be raised about 5 feet to accommodate the 100-year floodplain. The existing bridge was constructed in 1937, 88 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. The next project will resurface State Route 35 in Tift County from State Route 520 to Irwin County line for a length of 16 miles. The next project will reconstruct the existing at-grade intersection at US 44, which is also State Route 29, at State Route 112 in Wilkinson County, to a roundabout. The intersection will have 2-lane approaches and departures. State Route 112 will have a single-lane approach and departure. The project is located at the southern part of Wilkinson County, about 2.4 miles northwest of the county line, which is bordering on Lawrence County. The project length is 0.21 miles. Traffic will be maintained with on-site and stage construction will occur for the project. This project proposed to install a roundabout at the intersection of State Route 11 and State Route 142. The roundabout configuration will consist of an oval-shaped central island with a 20-foot single circulatory roadway width. And the final project is the widening of Bells Ferry Road at widening and bridge replacement, of Bells Ferry Road at Little River. The project begins just south of the North Victoria Road, Bells Ferry Road intersection, and extends north for about 8.83 miles. This project proposed to replace the existing bridge and to construct approaches to the bridge for one 12-foot lane each direction with a 20-foot raised median, urban shoulders, curb and gutter, and 5-foot sidewalks on both sides. The existing bridge was constructed in 1950, 75 years ago. And here's a ground view of that bridge to be replaced. Here's also a proposed layout of that particular larger bridge. So we have 22 projects for the April 2025 letting. 19 are GDOT let and 3 are local let. This chart shows the distribution by improvement type. The estimate of the projects in the April 2025 letting is approximately $93 million. This chart shows the dollar amount distribution by improvement type. I now ask for your consideration for approval of the proposed projects presented for the April 2025 letting.
You have heard the projects for April 2025 letting. May I have a motion that we consider these projects?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion about any of those projects? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The ayes carry it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next speaker will be our Deputy Director of Planning, Mr. Matt Markham, will come forward.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioner, members of the board. I'm pleased to come before you this morning to present proposed revisions to the construction work program. This month I have one set of revisions for your review. They're coming to you the first time, so this time they are for review. They'll come back to you next month for recommended action. There are 6 projects that you can see on the list. All of them are deletions to the program, and all of them are bridge projects. I'd be happy to take any questions, or otherwise I'll look forward to bringing them back to you next month.
Any questions?
I'm sorry?
Is there any particular reason that this many bridges are being deleted?
So these are all part of the overall bridge program that the bridge recommends, and they have priority orders in which they recommend
I got you.
for once they get replaced in order.
Any additional questions or statements? Seeing none, thank you so much. We'll look forward to next month. If I could have the Commissioner come forward, Commissioner Russell McMurray, to give us his report for the last, I guess, 4 weeks.
Good morning, Madam Chair, ladies and gentlemen of the board. It's great to be before you today. Today's a special day for some couple of reasons. But let me always start with our state fund collections from last month, total $203.11 million. $180.3 million of that was in the form of excise, $22.73 million in transportation fees. So that brings fiscal year-to-date collections to $1.62 billion. About $1.46 billion was from excise, right at $169 million in transportation fees. So that's a positive trend. And as Angela presented the budget yesterday, these revenue collections will go toward FY26 that she presented yesterday. So good news there. Always important is our most important assets are our employees. And to give you the update of employment ending in the month of February, we ended the month at 4,000 employees. As you remember, we tipped above 4,000, but we're back to 4,000. We hired 39 employees last month, and we had 46 employees separate service. So we lost a little ground, so we got some work to do. Also, as it relates to procurement for professional services for the month of February, there was 169 contracts executed, valued at $78.5 million. Again, that brings our fiscal year to date to almost 1,500 contracts executed thus far, valued at $749 million for professional services to, again, the pipeline of projects that Albert just presents takes all this work to ultimately get them there. I would note, too, as last month we bid farewell to Treasurer Young and provided a resolution for him for his leadership as our Chief Procurement Officer. I'd like to announce Maria Rue has been named as his replacement, so certainly glad to have Maria at the helm, and she will provide some presentations in the future. I don't know if she knows that yet, but she does now. But again, our procurement team does such a great job when you see those staggering numbers, and that's just professional services. That's not operational purchasing and all the other things. So glad to have Maria on board in that role. Let me move into a couple of projects that opened up last month, and we'll start in Congressional District 2 in Peach County, which is our GDOT District 3, and this is a safety operations project that consisted of construction of a roundabout at State Route 247 connector in Hauser's Mill Road in Peach County. And so this represents a $4.6 million investment, and on the left you can sort of see we had staggered intersections. So you get into a situation where it causes gridlock because when people try to turn left, they're stacked across each of those side roads and they can't make the move. So the left is the before, and now you can see the after. There will be green grass growing. These are action photos, okay? But now we have a nice alignment and there's 4 lanes just above this picture you can't see, where 4 lanes drop into 2 lanes at these major intersections in Houston County. So a really A complicated project, but will certainly bring safety and much improved traffic operations to this busy intersection. The contractor was Reeves Construction and opened up the traffic on February 5th. Now we'll move into Congressional District 8 in Wilkinson County, which is GDOT District 2, and this is a capital bridge replacement project. The bridge and the replacements on State Route 112 over Commissioners Creek in Wilkinson County, and this is just north of Toomsboro. The contractor was Gregory Bridge Company, opened to traffic on Valentine's Day, so that was our Valentine's Day gift to Wilkinson County. Represents a $10.3 million investment, and if you look over to the left, you can see the work bridge that was necessary to help build a new bridge, so you can see the complications of construction. So glad to have this bridge opened. Now we'll move up to Congressional District 10 in Franklin County, GDOT District 1, a capital maintenance investment of almost 15 miles of resurfacing along State Route 51 in Banks County, from the Banks County line just east of the Broad River there in Franklin County. The contractor was E.R. Snell, Contractor Incorporated. Finished up February the 13th, represents a $7.5 million investment. And yesterday, in Bill Wright's presentation, he showed you a roundabout that was quick response, and that's on the tail end of this in Banks County. So sort of neat how these projects all came together. So Franklin and Banks County has got some nice improvements there in District 1. And if you did the math on those almost 15 miles of resurfacing, that was about $510,000 per mile. 510,000 miles would be a very long way, but so it may have felt like that to the people getting it done. All right, let's move to Congressional District 12 in Lawrence County, which is also GDOT District 2, another safety and operations project, which is a roundabout on US 80, otherwise known as State Route 26, at Bethlehem Church Road in Lawrence County. Reeves Construction Company was the contractor to build this. And trust us, there's a roundabout beyond the signs, but we show you that there's a sign and a roundabout. Again, $4.4 million investment to, again, safety and operations. So glad to have that project operational in Lawrence County. Now I want to ask that you put your tray table and your seat in the upright position as we come in for our landing in Washington County in GDOT District 2, Congressional District 12 for our aviation capital project. This is, again, consistent of replacing the runway and taxiway lighting and the signage here at Keolis Field in Washington County, which is in Sandersville, and also included the taxiway pavement rehabilitation. And you can see the contrast from the left to the right of the new pavement. Sort of hard to see the new signs and the lighting, obviously, during the day. This represents a $2.2 million investment, with the federal share being $437,000, state investment of $1.3 million, and $440,000 local share. So glad to continue to make investments in our airports around the state. Now let me move into a few updates since we're together. I'll start with the high honor I had to be able to represent AASHTO and GDOT in testimony to the U.S. Senate Environmental Public Works Committee back on February 26. The focus from the committee was on IIJA, or the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or BIL, whatever you want to call it. They want to really look at the implementation. How did the implementation of the Federal Transportation Authorization Bill go, and some case studies. So with a lot of support from our team here at GDOT and the AASHTO team, we submitted 20 pages of written testimony. And if you want to see that, I'll be glad to share it. If you want an interesting read about transportation policy, I'll be glad to share that with you. But 20 pages of written testimony, and I was joined as a witness with two other gentlemen. One was Gary Johnson, who is the Vice President of Granite Construction, and he represented the Transportation Construction Coalition. Granite Construction is a big national contractor. He was based out of California. And also, Michael Carroll, who is the Deputy Manager, Director of the Office of Transportation and Infrastructure for the City of Philadelphia. And so he was representing the National Association of City Transportation Officials. So we had each 5 minutes of opening comments. It's interesting, they have a little shot clock right in front of you with a timer that counts down with green, yellow, and red lights, so that's not intimidating at all, as watching the time go by. And we had 5 minutes, and then we had 2 hours of questions and answers from the senators on the committee, and they each had 5 minutes to ask a question and for us to answer. And I think I forgot that on the first question, thinking I had 5 minutes to respond. So the chair lady was gracious and said, let's give the other witnesses time to talk. And you know me, I can talk for a minute. So anyway, here's what we focused on, or here's what I focused on for AASHTO and GDOT. The main tenets were, we really want to make sure Congress is focused on the timely reauthorization of the transportation bill, which expires next September. And Josh has informed us on that at committee meetings. The other thing we're advocating for, or trying to educate on, is increase and prioritize the core formula program. So all these projects that we build fall into some federal bucket or some program, and the core programs are the ones that really do the bread and butter things like repave roads, replace bridges, build roundabouts. And so we're advocating for Congress to really prioritize those over the last bill, which had a tremendous amount of discretionary projects in it. And so we're trying to say, let's focus on these core priority areas. The other thing is to give flexibility, asking Congress to give states flexibility in making those choices of how we can use those federal buckets of money. And lastly, we're advocating and try to educate that we need to maintain the level of federal funding that was established in the IIJA. If you recall, when that was passed, it was landmark and historic levels of funding. In fact, about 20% initially, and it increased 2% per year. Josh mentioned that yesterday in the budget continuing resolution. We got the 2% bump up for federal fiscal 25. So as we all know, and as we've talked about many times, the costs have gone up tremendously in the last 3 or 4 years. So we're asking Congress to say we need to maintain at the base level and not go back to where we were, because that would be less in federal investment in transportation. So that was the tenets of the conversation. I will say it was just a real honor for me to have that opportunity to represent GDOT and represent AASHTO, and probably the best thing that came out of that was a great relationship with the Senate EPW staff, who actually write the legislation. For all of you that have served in the House and the Senate, you know Leg Council does the heavy lifting, so we got to meet the people that do that. So, and we've been engaged with them since then, so that's really nice. I was very encouraged by both House and Senate that they do want to work in a bipartisan nature, and each party enumerated that to work on transportation reauthorization this year, so that they're ahead of next year's deadline. And I will use my words carefully, but that's sort of unique in Washington, and that they're not waiting to the last minute either. So I think we have some great opportunity ahead. So from the AASHTO point of view, we've developed core policy principles for reauthorization. AASHTO's developed many white papers, of which our GDOT staff has basically contributed a lot of information to AASHTO, as well as the other states. And then basically we're going to turn those into policy resolutions that AASHTO will then use on the Hill to advocate for reauthorization. So it's a really interesting process, and we're very glad to have a seat at the table. All right, let me come back a little closer to home and talk about a major project update that many of you are aware of, but I wanted to bring to your attention some of the major milestones. And that's our project at I-85 and North Druitt Hills interchange in the mighty 5th Congressional District, I do believe. Right, so we had we highlighted this project last summer to the board, and we were preparing to close the Peachtree Creek Bridge there on North Druitt Hills. I remind you, this was a $100 million design build construction project, and really trying to work on the efficiency of the interchange, a very highly congested interchange with a very fast-growing area there in Brookhaven, including the opening of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta in the Emory campus, which is opposite of that. And so really a changing landscape there with a lot more traffic serving, really critical healthcare industry there. So this project has many moving parts, and just wanted to highlight a few timelines. In June last summer, a new intersection opened up, which was the driveway to CHOA. That was a very important milestone because when they moved their campus from over in Clifton over to this, we had to make sure that their access and the access into CHOA was open and ready when they made that move. And I remind you too, our heroes actually helped when they moved all the patients. So we had heroes helping with that transition of moving from one hospital to another, which is a major activity by CHOA. It's just amazing to see how they did that basically in a day or two over a weekend. In July, our contractors opened up the North Druid Hills Bridge over North Fork Peachtree Creek to vehicle and pedestrian traffic. You might remember that when we provided an update, Stacy did a video for us to remind everybody that there's going to be a 90-day closure, which is very painful at that location. But the good news was, guess what? We got it opened in the 90 days. So we again hit another major milestone. So certainly appreciate Stacy's advocacy and doing the video that went out on social media to get the word out of this major disruption. And we certainly appreciate the public's patience as we got that done. So having that done on time was very important. And last month, the new Executive Park Drive officially opened to traffic as well, which aligned with CHOA's main driveway, which Executive Park Drive was part of the challenge. If you see the graphic there, you can see Emory, Executive Park Drive, and CHOA lined up. Well, it used to be right up against the northbound off-ramp, so it's a very congested intersection, and this is helping already traffic flow in the midst of a construction project. And then about a week later, so just last month again, the Peachtree Creek Greenway, North Druid Hills Trail opened as well. So again, a lot of moving parts. So visitors now can use the sidewalks, go down to the trail, and access right there off North Druid Hills. So we provided another access. So when you look at a complicated interchange project, it also had a nice pedestrian feature of enhanced trail access that Brookhaven has continued to build. So the next milestone is hopefully happens this weekend, weather permitting, and that's opening something called the displaced left turn. We've got all these great names, right? Or a DLT, not to be confused with a BLT. But the DLT will basically have traffic turning left in advance of the southbound on-ramp, and we're going to show you a video that I think, and I'm very proud of Communications for putting this together, that explains what a DLT is. So let's watch.
Hey Brookhaven, it's Monet with Georgia DOT here at the I-85 at SR42 North Druid Hills Road project. Did you know that left turns are one of the major causes of congestion at busy intersections? But what if I told you there was a way to safely reduce congestion while keeping traffic moving smoothly? Introducing the displaced left turn intersection, or what we call a DLT. A DLT allows left-turning vehicles and through traffic to move at the same time, eliminating the need to wait for oncoming traffic. Here's how it works. Left-turning vehicles will shift into a dedicated lane at a signal-controlled crossover before approaching the main intersection. From there, left-turning vehicles will travel on a new roadway parallel to the opposing lanes to complete their turn without stopping. This traffic configuration is the perfect formula for the North Druid Hills corridor. With fewer conflict points, DLTs help lower the risk of crashes within intersections by reducing congestion, improving efficiency, and enhancing safety for everyone. Right now, crews are finalizing the DLT for the westbound to southbound movement on SR42 North Druid Hills Road to I-85 southbound. This new traffic pattern is anticipated to open to traffic by late March 2025. Be sure to stay up to date on all traffic impacts by signing up for our alerts on the project webpage. GDOT thanks you for your patience as our crews work to enhance and improve this busy, growing corridor.
Certainly, that's a great overview and a simplistic view of a very complicated diagram there, and certainly appreciate Communications for putting this together and obviously pushing that on social media to try to inform people how this will take place, because it is a little different. And it's not quite a DDI and it's not quite a CFI, so it's the DLT. So in the innovation, again, from all of our engineers and traffic engineers and everybody involved in this design build project is certainly appreciative to deal with a very complicated intersection. So very glad to have that in our pocket, and stay tuned. We hopefully will make that happen this weekend, weather permitting again. I do understand it may rain Saturday, so we'll have to see. All righty, let me move in next to a couple of updates since last time we were together. As you know, last month, the State Transportation Board elections were held for Congressional Districts 6, 7, and 8. First, I'd like to note that Tim Golden did not receive his parole, and he is committed for another 5 years of a term. And so congratulations to you, Tim. I appreciate that and your service to Congressional District 8. Congratulations. And I look forward to continue to work with you, obviously. We've got a few things knocked off, but there's a few more to knock off as well. So, all right. And also, I'd like to acknowledge Doug Stoner, who was elected to serve a full 5-year term representing the 6th District. I believe Doug is here today. Doug? Yep, Doug's here. So, welcome aboard. Doug is sort of unique. He is a lifelong from Cobb County, lived his entire life there, not far from where he grew up. So, and certainly Doug has been a friend of GDOT over the years as his service in the legislature, going back many years. We won't say how many, Doug, because that makes us both older. Also, I'd like to note that Major General Joe Stein was elected to serve a 4-year term representing the 7th Congressional District. And most recently, Mr. Stein served as Secretary and Treasurer for the Forsyth County Development Authority. So, again, we welcome them aboard at the next month's board meeting. So, look forward to working with them. And so, with that, we'll move into your next agenda items. I believe that concludes my report, Madam Chair. Any questions or comments?
Any questions to the Commissioner? Comments? I have a comment that I would like to voice to you, is that we're honored to have our Commissioner so involved, not only in the state of Georgia, and you do that quite well for us as our Commissioner, but we are honored that you had the opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. and present the case not only for AASHTO, but for the state of Georgia, and how we have achieved and accomplished so much under the leadership that we have throughout our Georgia Department of Transportation. So I want to give a great big thank you to you and what you do for our state and for our communities all across. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Stacy?
I want to tack onto that and say, Commissioner, thank you to you, the entire GDOT team, as well as the contractor team. Donna Highland, the CEO of CHOA, mentioned to me personally how grateful she was for the GDOT engagement and support and what you've done. And she said, you have been incredible to work with. So thank you. Job well done.
Thank you. Thank Donna. They've been a great partner at CHOA for sure. Right.
Any other comments? Thank you so very much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
At this time, we will go into our board committee reports, and our first report will be delivered to us by Board Member Tim Golden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Statewide Transportation Planning Strategic Planning Committee convened on March 19th, yesterday at 1:30 p.m. Board members present included myself, Lewis, Key, McIntyre, Purcell, Boswell, Williams, Bowen, Thompson, and Gravely. The first order of business, the Director and Deputy Director of the Atlanta Region Transit Link Authority, known as ATL, and Janine Miller, our Planning Director, along with Kane Williamson, presented information about the agency's key activities. ATL operates a commuter bus service from the suburbs to job centers in town. The pandemic significantly altered work schedules and patterns. To right-size Express for current ridership levels and to absorb budget cuts, the ATL will soon reduce trips by approximately 65% while maintaining services in every interstate corridor. Mr. Williamson also provided information about ATL's strategic blueprint that will guide the upcoming regional transit plan and distribution of Georgia's Transit Trust Fund. There were no actions taken by the committee. The committee adjourned at 1:58. This concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Now for our Finance Committee and Committee Chair, Stacy Key.
Thank you. The Finance Committee convened on March 19th, 2025 at 1:59 p.m. Board members present include myself, McIntyre, Thompson, Boswell, Lewis, Purcell, Williams, Golden, and Gravely. First order of business, Angela Wentworth, Treasurer, presents the full version of the amended full year 2025 and the House version for the full year 2026 budget. She reported that revenue for the amended budget full year 2025 budget increased by a total of $1,278,773,806 due to increase in excise of $244,008,339 and an increase of the State General Fund of $1,034,725,467. State General Funds added $500 million for freight, $265 million for local roads, $200 million for routine maintenance, $46.461 million for transportation infrastructure, bank and payments to CERTA, $7.8 million for airport aid, and $12.975 million for rail. This increases the amended 2025 budget to $3,782,574,193. Since then, presented the full year 2026 budget, which increased by $293,370,053. This reflects an increase of $274,976,802 in excise funds, a $9,656,617 increase in transportation trust funds, $5,592,384 in transit trust funds, and an increase of $3,144,250 in state general funds. This increases the full year 2026 budget to $2,797,000,000 to $10,440. Committee actions, no action were taken in this committee. The committee adjourned at 2:15 p.m. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Following that, we will have our Legislative Committee report given by our Committee Vice Chair, Kurt Thompson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Legislative Committee convened on March 19th, 2025 at 2:16 p.m. Board members present included myself, Jamie Boswell, Michael Gravely, Tim Golden, Ann Purcell, Dennis McIntyre, Kathy Williams, Stacy Key, and Jeff Lewis. Joshua Waller, the Director of Policy and Government Affairs, provided a state legislative update covering key legislation that passed at least one legislative chamber by crossover day, including GDOT's annual agency legislation, House Bills 575. Additionally, he provided a federal update detailing the enactment of federal funding through the remainder of the fiscal year and the announcement of the President's nomination of Sean McMaster to be the next Administrator of the Federal Highway Administration. No actions were taken in the committee, and the committee adjourned at 2:28 p.m., and that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next, we will have the Intermodal Committee report given by a committee member, Dennis McIntyre.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Intermodal Committee convened on March 19th, 2025 at 2:29 p.m. Board members present included myself, Thompson, Williams, Purcell, Boswell, Key, Golden, Lewis, and Gravely. First order of business, Justin Thrift, our rail program manager, gave an update on the Georgia freight rail program. After reviewing the program history and selection process toward grants under the program, Mr. Thrift provided an update on the 5 projects selected in 2024. Finally, Mr. Thrift reviewed the timeline for the applications and selection for the 2025 grants. No further actions were taken by this committee, and we adjourned at 2:40 p.m., and this concludes my report.
Thank you. Now we go to the Committee of the Whole. The committee of the whole convened yesterday at 2:41 PM. Board members that were present was myself, Boswell, McIntyre, Williams, Key, Thompson, Golden, Lewis, and Gravely. Their first order of business, Bill Wright, our local grant administrator, gave an update on the local grant office programs. The programs include the Local Maintenance and Improvement Grants, LMIG, the Local Road Assistant Administrative Grant, which is LRA, and the Off-System Safety Programs and the Quick Response Program. Mr. Wright's overview of the Quick Response Program included the positive impact the new funding limit is having on fiscal year 2025 projects. There was no action taken by the committee, and the committee was adjourned at 2:59 PM, and this concludes this report. Now we move farther into our business. I would like to ask board member if he will please come to the podium, Tim Golden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I come up here with mixed emotions to have the pleasure of this duty of honoring one of our board members. It's also with a great deal of sadness that I do this, because we served together in the Senate together, and so it's our lives have been in and out together over many years, and he's been a treasured friend, and I appreciate very much Kurt Thompson's commitment to this state. He served for a long time in the legislature and has been a very good friend, personal friend over the years. In fact, we were such friends, we sat on the front row. I might add, Doug Stoner was on the front row with us at that time, and I think we were on the front row where the lieutenant governor could keep his eye on us to make sure we were behaving. But Kurt, if you would, with the board, I'd like to read the resolution that I will ask you to approve at the end. This is a resolution by the State Transportation Board, whereas Kurt Thompson has served admirably on the State Transportation Board, giving voice to transportation needs of the constituents of the Georgia 7th Congressional District that includes Forsyth and Gwinnett counties. Whereas Mr. Thompson understands the importance and understood the importance of transportation that plays in the lives of his constituents. He also served on the State Transportation Board committees, most recently, obviously, as Vice Chair of the Legislative Committee, but he served as Chair of the Administrative Committee. Additionally, he was a vital member of both the Finance and Intermodal Committees, helping to shape Georgia's transportation infrastructure. Whereas Mr. Thompson has a history of honorably serving the people of Georgia, prior to his election to the State Transportation Board, Mr. Thompson served 16 years in the Georgia legislature. He was first in the House, where he served for 2 years, and then later 14 years in the State Senate when he retired in 2019. He represented Gwinnett County during those years. Whereas during this time in the legislature, Mr. Thompson was known for being very direct and honest communications with his constituents. He was so good with his constituent services. He had a very large Latino community, and he went out and learned to speak Spanish, where he could be more engaged in neighborhood meetings, and that tells you his commitment to his citizens of his district. I might add, when I took Spanish in college, I did not do very well. So this will be all in English. Kurt is also an active member of his community. He serves currently as chair of the Sierra Club, I believe. Which is an organization of 75,000 members who are inspired by nature and work to protect our communities and our planet and preserve our environment. He's also a member of the Habitat for Humanity Board and serves in numerous other capacities in various organizations. He's obviously very involved in his community. Whereas Mr. Thompson is a lifelong resident of Gwinnett County, which is commissioner, I guess it is unusual up here, isn't it? But he's a lifelong resident of Gwinnett County. He graduated from Shiloh High School, where he was a National Merit Scholar. He went on to graduate from American University in Washington, D.C., majoring in international studies and broadcast journalism. From there, he attended law school here at Georgia State University. Mr. Thompson is a respected lawyer. He practices, his law practices in Norcross. It's a law firm of Thompson and Associates, where he is a trial lawyer. He is a dedicated father also, son Richard. Therefore, Madam Chair, in recognition of Kurt Thompson's dedication, hard work, and valuable contribution to the advancement of Georgia's transportation network, and for his selfless contributions and service to his district and to his state over many years, I want it to be resolved that a copy of this resolution be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and a suitable copy of the resolution be presented to Kurt. And Kurt, if you would come forward, and while he's coming forward, I would like to ask that that this board, that I make this in form of a motion, that the board approve this. So, Madam Chair.
I have
this is
a
my
motion on the floor. Do I have a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay.
Kurt, would you like to vote?
The ayes carry, and congratulations on the resolution being adopted by our board.
Thank you, Kurt. Appreciate your service.
I'm a lawyer, but I will try to be brief. I do want to thank y'all for letting me serve with y'all for a couple of years. I know that, you know, the balls bounce weirdly, especially with redistricting, and that's how things happen sometimes. It's been a pleasure to serve y'all, with y'all, rather, and to work with staff and the commissioner and chair. And I know Robert Brown's not here, but and the past chair that I served with, and all of you, and I'm looking forward to now I get to be a constituent of yours, Emily, and I've got your email, so I've already sent you an email as of yesterday about a issue about noise, so it'll happen. But I guess I really want to say thank you again to everybody in these very interesting times.
Absolutely.
I'm still reminded and still believe Bobby Kennedy's words that public service is still a noble profession. And y'all are all exemplary of that. You members here, commissioners, staff that are back here, the incoming member Stoner, that's coming, who I used to be a seatmate with. We were the short white guy caucus in the Senate. And so the caucus will still have at least 2 members on the DOT board. So I thank y'all, and I thank you for this, and I am sure I will see y'all again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kurt, in honor of your service to our board, to the state of Georgia, to your district, we want to just give you a little presentation to remember your service as you have served here, and we're so happy. But we're going to continue calling you, so don't worry about being left out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so very much. And just turn around for some pictures.
That's noble of you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Ow. That hurt. Oops. That's much easier than Order it out. We don't get better looking.
We've done enough damage to that camera.
One more. All right, we're good.
At this time, I would like to ask our Commissioner, Russell McMurray, to come forward.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, congratulations, Kurt. I was a young district engineer when we ran across each other, so thank you for your service and always working with us. And again, our phone numbers and emails don't change, so we continue to look forward to working with you and wish you the very best. Madam Chair and ladies and gentlemen of the board, it is my distinct honor and privilege to be allowed to read the resolution honoring such a good friend and inspiration to me, Mr. Rudy Bowen. Rudy's not only been my friend and your friend, he's been a true friend across his district and across the entire state for that matter, no matter the geography or the district number, as Kurt says, sometimes numbers change around. He's provided us at GDOT with strong support that has made us a better agency. The Gwinnett County Chamber got it right last year by honoring Rudy as Citizen of the Year. And that's certainly a high and distinct honor out of a county of almost 1 million people. So I think, Mr. Bowen, that puts you 1 in 1 million. So that was certainly a high and distinct honor. I want to personally thank him for his confidence in me. Having somebody in your corner through good times and bad is just awesome. He's done that for me professionally and inspires me personally. And just look at the group here today as representative of the inspiration he has on the front 2 rows, just a small amount of his family, I might add. I was a young district engineer in Gainesville when Mr. Bowen joined the board back in 2007. Upon my meeting him, I began to understand his vast experience and knowledge. And I might add that also I recognized his ability for doing business and doing business in the right way. That is treating people well and always looking for the positive. I remember the first meeting he called with some frustrated developers trying to work through an access permit. That's never happened in any of your districts, I know. And I was like, oh boy, I bet I know how this is gonna go. You know, we're gonna get told how and what to do with this developer. So the meeting was held. Mr. Bowen came in with the group and did introductions around the table there in the district office. And the next thing I know, he excused himself and he was gone. And so the meeting happened and I followed up later and I said, just calling to see what happened. You just left. He said, all I did was tell them I was going to get them to the table and I'm going to leave it to the experts to figure out the resolution. So I told him I did my job. I just got him to the table. And me and our staff were like, wow, that's impressive. And so you just made a really positive impact. Now, he stayed at other meetings, don't get me wrong. But I was like, wow, okay. So I know, and I'm sure when people think about Mr. Bowen, they think about him as a builder, a home builder for sure. And I think a builder is right. But I see him as a different kind of builder. I see him as a consensus and people builder. He has a can-do attitude and instills his positivity while remaining objective and being a realist. He's always looking for a way forward together. Treating people well and always looking for the positive in the situation is certainly his MO. I started to list all the projects we've worked on together over the years and all the issues we've resolved. But I realize that Tim Golden has a shot clock on me, and so we have to keep it within the time frame allotted. But most people probably don't know his involvement on the I-75 Northwest Corridor Express lanes right there in Jeff's district. He navigated some real challenges among changes in governors and some other challenges at the time with GDOT, and engaged directly with Governor Deal and the GDOT staff in what we have today as a result of his action to keep that project moving forward, reconstituted in a little different vein, but again, that success of Northwest Corridor is due to his leadership at the time, working with the governor and GDOT to get the project done. And when I say it was touch and go for a while, it was touch and go. So thank you for that. Another major focus area with Mr. Bowen has been quick crash clearance. And if Meg or others have been on the phone with him when he's stuck behind a crash. And so we know that that has been a very important issue for him. But what you may not know was he was the original advocate of what is today called the open roads policy that the Department of Public Safety does by pre-positioning law enforcement, state patrol, DPS, along the freeways where there's high crash frequency so that they can respond quicker. But he was the advocate for that and pushed GDOT to work with the Department of Public Safety way back then so that we have this great relationship that we enjoy today and, of course, have benefited from that. So, but most people don't know that. You know, early on, I fondly remember when stimulus, you remember stimulus, the stimulus package called ARA came out, and I had a meeting, I was in the district, I had a meeting with Mr. Boeing and the chief engineer at the time. And Mr. Bowen's always fairly cool and collected, but at that meeting, he sort of pounded the table a little bit saying, I want more projects and more money in my district. I mean, I'm like, whoa, you know, that's not like him. He was getting pretty excited, but I leaned over with the spreadsheet that showed he had more projects and more money than every other board member in the state. And he said, I think that'll be fine. Now, the person that put that spreadsheet together is none other than Meg Perkle. Because she was delivering the projects at the time. So that was a great memory. So you had done quite well. But one of those ARA projects has come sort of full circle as of last week, interestingly enough. It's sort of interesting how a career goes and a service goes. As Mr. Bowen served as the guest of honor and provided remarks at the groundbreaking ceremony for the McGinnis Ferry roadway project, widening project at Johns Creek. The groundbreaking was for phase one of a two-phase project that ultimately widens McGinnis Ferry Road from the Johns Creek area all the way up to State Route 400. And so this isn't any just ordinary widening project. It represents what can happen when the state and counties and municipalities all work together. GDOT put $20 million toward these projects, but the county, Forsyth County funded with SPLOST dollars. The city of Johns Creek put money in. Fulton County Water and Sewer put money in. McGinnis Ferry Road actually rides the county line between Fulton and Forsyth County. Right down the middle of McGinnis Ferry Road is the county line. So it's truly a complicated partnership. But the full circle moment, let me go back to what that means, because the ARA project that he was pounding his fist for, one of those was to build and extend McGinnis Ferry Road over Interstate 85 and connect it back to Lawrenceville-Swanee Highway, which is State Route 317. So that project got built with the stimulus money long ago. And that was the first project of a grand plan. The rest of the grand plan is under construction by the groundbreaking he attended, but also a new interchange at I-85 at McGinnis Ferry Road. And when we did the ARA project, we set that up for a future interchange. The other part of the grand plan was a new interchange at McGinnis Ferry and State Route 400, which is, both of those interchange projects are well under construction today. And so, as you can see, with some vision, direction, and sticking with it, the grand plan will now have a 4-lane connection from I-85 to State Route 400, creating a major east-west regional corridor that previously didn't exist and wouldn't exist if it wasn't for Mr. Bowen's passion and maybe pounding his fist a few times on the desk way back then. So I could just go on for a while with all the projects we've worked on and things we've done, but I think it's probably best and most fitting is to get on with the resolution, recognizing Mr. Bowen's service to the board. And with that, Madam Chair, I will read this resolution. Obviously, I can't take any action, but it's my honor to read it. Whereas Rudy Bowen will retire from his position serving Georgia's 6th Congressional District of the State Transportation Board of Georgia after a distinguished 18-year tenure. His exhibited exceptional leadership and his guidance and oversight of the Georgia Department of Transportation during unprecedented times for the constituents in his district and for the state of Georgia. And whereas, first elected to the State Transportation Board in 2007, Mr. Bowen has a well-deserved reputation for integrity and passionately advocating for his district. Most recently, he was vital to advancing several projects, including the widening of McGinnis Ferry Road, which celebrated a groundbreaking last month, and 2 new interchanges at major highways. The first interchange is located at McGinnis Ferry and I-85 in Gwinnett County. The second is McGinnis Ferry Road and State Route 400, where Forsyth County and Fulton counties meet. The project will improve mobility and better quality of life for motorists and residents in the area, and are just a few examples of the many important projects he's championed during his long tenure. And whereas, during his nearly 2 decades on the State Transportation Board, Mr. Bowen twice served as the board chair and was an active member of several committees that play an important role in shaping Georgia's transportation network. As chair of the State Transportation Board P3 Committee, he was instrumental in GDOT's first P3 project, the Northwest Corridor Express Lane. Most recently, he served as a member of the Property Utilization Committee and Gateways Committee, and whereas Mr. Bowen founded Bowen Family Homes in 1969, focused on the needs of middle-class families, and forged a stellar reputation for quality and service. The company has achieved tremendous success and was ranked 5th among Metro Atlanta builders and 40th among Atlanta's top private companies by the Atlanta Business Chronicle in 2007. Additionally, Bowen Family Homes was named the Georgia Family Business of the Year for medium-sized companies by Georgia Trend and the Cox Family Enterprise Center at Kennesaw State University in 2006. And whereas he has contributed greatly to the economic development of Georgia's 6th congressional district in the entire state of Georgia, Mr. Bowen has also supported a number of charitable organizations, including Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, Shepherd Spinal Clinic, the American Cancer Society, American Red Cross, and the Gwinnett Children's Shelter. And whereas Mr. Bowen has generously shared his business and civil service experience by serving on multiple boards, including the Lake Lanier Recreational Authority, Gwinnett Airport Authority, the Gwinnett County Board of Appeals, Emory Johns Creek Hospital Board, the Board of Deacons at Johns Creek Baptist Church. And whereas in 2024, Mr. Bowen was named Gwinnett Citizen of the Year for his longstanding dedication and service to Gwinnett County. This award recognizes individuals who have dedicated themselves to serving the county and improving the quality of life for its residents. And whereas Mr. Bowen graduated from Dawson County High School in 1957, he attended the University of Georgia before joining the United States Army in 1958. He then served in U.S. Army Reserves from 1959 to 1964. Mr. Bowen's married his wife, Jean, in 1962, so I'm doing the math. That's either 62 or 63 years. Is he off probation yet? Almost, okay. And has 3 children, 8 grandchildren, and 15 great-grandchildren, and I hope that number's right because I think you grew by 1 at least, so 20, okay. Yes, I can't keep up. All right. Therefore, be it resolved that the State Transportation Board recognizes Rudy Bowen for his leadership, dedication, and valuable contributions to advancement of Georgia's transportation network. Be it further resolved, a copy of this resolution shall be spread upon the minutes of this meeting, and a suitable copy be presented to Rudy Bowen in honor of the recognition of his service to the state of Georgia and his impactful tenure to the State Transportation Board. Adopted this 20th day of March 2025. So, Madam Chair, thank you for allowing me to read that. I will turn it back to you for your actions.
Yes, sir. Board members, you have heard the reading of the resolution for Board Member Rudy Bowen. I will accept a motion to approve that it be put on our minutes. I have a motion. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those with a no say no, and I don't want to hear any. Okay, that is
Can I
very
not vote?
good.
Can I vote on that?
I'm afraid not, unless I classify you as a board member. But if you would, we'd like to ask Rudy to come forward. The motion has passed. Resolution has been honored to you.
Come in, Ann, please.
Thank you, be in the middle.
Yeah, leave up the cold a little bit. There you go. Be sure this picture looks great. You got all. Gene, can you come up here? I want you to have a picture. If you don't mind, please.
Hold on.
Now the picture's a lot
Yeah,
better.
please.
Great. Thank you so much. I will hold on to this. Yeah, if you hold on to this, Gene, if you'll stand right over here, up here. I would like for y'all to come up. I'd like to introduce you. Come on up.
We also have something now.
Oh, wait a minute, excuse me. Okay, she has something else to do.
But
Okay.
family, please come on up, because you're a part of this whole thing. Rooted because of the fact that, this board thinks so much of you. We wanted to give you a little going away, but a staying here place for us. But just to honor you, we have had this print done for you so that you may hold it in your heart to know how much you mean to this board.
Oh, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. It is wonderful. Thank you. And I will definitely hang this up to be able to where I can see this to remind me of my duty and my opportunity to serve on this board. So thank you again, but I got a few other things I'd like to say.
Yes.
It's gonna, okay, first of all, if I may introduce my family, my wife, Jean.
Yay.
My daughter, Beth, my daughter, Allison Kate, and her husband, Tip, and my son, David, and his wife, Melissa. Thank y'all for being here today to support me in this event. This is a big event for me, and I certainly can't thank you enough for arranging to be here today. Thank you. Y'all want to sit down? I don't have any idea what I'm going to say here this morning because my heart is really full this morning. And emotionally, also, I don't know what's going to happen either because this board means a lot to me. To be able to serve with quality people, people who are dedicated to this job, this state, and your communities. And it's a wonderful event. And being on this board for 18 years, I've had the opportunity to meet some wonderful and great people. Some of them are not here now. And I always think about Jay Shaw, who was on this board for a number of years. Tim took his place. Great guy, supported this board to be what it is today. Emily Dunn, I remember Emily from Blue Ridge. When I went up, I remember we had a dinner there. I think Representative Ralston was there. We went, board us up there, and there was going to be a new board member, and it was going to be, they had decided it was going to be Miss Emily. And thank you, Emily, for the great support that you've given me over these years. And of course, Jamie Boswell. Jamie, it's always great to be with you. You've been an asset to this board from down out of Athens, and you did a great job, and I just can't thank you enough. And Commissioner, I got to say a few things about you, what you meant to this state, this board, and all the great work that you're doing from here to Washington, and it means a lot to see what has been accomplished by your actions and your hard work. And I told him the other day, I don't know how Michelle is dealing with him being gone so much, but thank you for what she means to this board. Tell her that I said she is an asset to this board because of the way that she supports you. And Ann, thank you so much for the great job as our chairman. You did a great job, and I can't
thank you enough for all what you are doing here at GDOT. And, you know, Miss Ann was a representative from her district down there for a number of years and came on the DOT board. It's been a pleasure working with you. And Kristen, thank you for all the hard work you do for this board. I mean, you keep us straight. You do all the great things we have to do, and you always put us in the right place at the right time. And anything we need, we can call you, and you're on board to getting it done. And Dennis, thank you. I got to know you and the great job that you're doing here in leadership. And again, thank you. And I hope to see you again. I know some of you are wondering if I'm going to come back. Yeah, I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back probably trying to fix a problem. So hopefully that's what happens. Anyway, Jeff, great to be with you. I always enjoyed your conversations and being with you and talking about, you know, what's happening up in your neck of the woods. And again, thank you, and just great to be here. Stacy, thank you for always asking about Gene. You're such a wonderful asset to this board and the great job that you do, and it's exciting just to always to see you here and to be with you and to talk with you, and thank you for your support. And Kathy, thank you so much. You just came on the board a couple of years ago, but you've done an outstanding job, and we're so excited. I'm so excited the great work that you're doing in this board and what the future looks like. Thank you. And again, those who are not here, Mr. Brown, a friend of mine, he came on the board a year before I came on the board, and I never forget sitting next to him, want to know who I was while I was on the board. I said, well, I don't know. I just came in, so I'm learning. I'm learning what's going on. But anyway, and Micah, I can't thank you enough for knowing you and the great work I know that you'll be doing for this board. I mean, you've already demonstrated that in your actions and your attitudes on this board. And Kurt, you and I go way back in the county over there. We've crossed paths, and thank you again for your leadership, and hope to see you again in some capacity. So great to be with you here. And those who are not here, again, it's been a wonderful experience. It's been a joy to serve this board. I mean, a joy. I mean, I always look forward to coming to the board meetings and the committee meetings and the excitement that goes on. But I've got to say a lot about our employees. The people that I have worked with on this department has been fantastic. So many great people. Angela, Meg, David, Jason Dykes, and wait, I'm missing one, but I'll get it. But anyway, age does catch up with you about names sometimes. But I'd like to thank all the employees. I mean, so many of them that I've had to cross paths with, and they work so great, and attitude, commitments that they have, and always ready to go with any situation, and they're ready to go. And they'll call you back, or if you have a need, they will respond to you. That's important in their attitudes about trying to fix issues. But again, I'm going to miss you. I'm going to miss everything here. I didn't know if how emotional I'll be about this, but I was sitting there thinking, and I said, you know, it's hard to realize that this is my last day here as a board member, but that's okay, because I've enjoyed every single bit of it, and it's time for me to move on, and I love it. And so again, thank you, and have a great day.
To you and Kurt, Mr. Bowen and Kurt, we thank you for your services to our department, to the people of Georgia, to the state of Georgia, and particularly to the fact that your loyalty have many of us that you have been a mentor to, and we're very pleased with that. Do I have someone that might like to say something? Mr. Boswell.
Yeah, I'll try to get through this. Two things. First, to Kurt. He has been really a joy to be with. And he came to Athens one time, I guess, and stopped by and stayed about 30 minutes, and I guess when he left, he wondered why he came by. But anyway, but anyway, I thought we had a great visit anyway, but he really has the DOT in heart, and he really is interested in it. And my friend Rudy, first person that called me after I got elected was Rudy Bourne. And recently, our family's had some issues, and he has been in touch constantly since then, and I love him for it. Thank you.
Thank you. We are a very close family on our board, and with those involved in GDOT. As you can tell today, our loyalty to each other certainly stands out. And I thank our board members for being so precious to each and every one of us as board members, but to our whole GDOT family for what you do to make our jobs easy and us be able to understand where we are needing to go and how we can get there. So I want to say thank you to all of our board members, including Kurt and Rudy. We thank you for your service, and you're always welcome. So it may be you're not a board member, but you're always welcome, and your opinion is always welcome, particularly to me. So I will accept those. And as we move forward, we'll go into new business. I would like to just remind everyone that next month, our April meeting, for the committee meetings, we will have them at 3 o'clock on that Wednesday. But we will have a tour prior to that, but we'll return here for committee meetings at 3 o'clock on that Wednesday, which is April the 16th, I believe. So I just wanted to remind each and every one of you of the change in time for our board committee meetings. Are there any other announcements or further remarks? Yes, Micah?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would be remiss if I did not echo the sentiments that have been spoken here today about just the family atmosphere that is shared amongst the board, but a deep appreciation for our employees. Some of you know that over the weekend, Paulding County was hit with an EF1 tornado. It was 11 miles of just pure destruction. I felt in that moment somewhat, not maybe as much, but somewhat what Tim Golden, our board member in South Georgia, and the good folks of South Georgia felt. Although we were not hit as hard, it was a stretch that was devastating. I know Kristen's family was affected by that as well, but the response of our DOT employees and the way that they cooperated and worked well with our EMCs, our law enforcement, everybody in the community, our legislative delegation is just not only the standard bearer, but it's to be commended. And Grant Waldrop, our chief engineer in the 14th District, was on a thread with us and answered questions just as quick as they came in. And by Sunday evening, everything was up and ready, repaired, replaced, and our citizens were able to flow along SR6 and SR61. So I just wanted to say thank you. It was great to see our team in action, and we owe a debt of gratitude to all of our GDOT employees. Thank you.
We appreciate those kind remarks about our staff and all the leadership that we have here in GDOT. Any other statements or comments? Seeing none, this meeting stands adjourned.